Stan Gibilisco here. I am awaiting the publication of my next book, Teach Yourself Electricity and Electronics, 6th edition, co-authored with Simon Monk, another well-known McGraw-Hill author. He has written some new chapters on microcontrollers and the Arduino, which readers have asked for. Now, you're going to get it in a couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks. Meanwhile, I plan to enjoy the upcoming week of sunny weather here in the black holes of Dakota Territory, United States of abundant everything, and even more abundant nothing. You'll notice recently I've become rather non-technical in my videos, perhaps because after completing a book of that magnitude and that size, nearly 800 pages, largely devoted to technical subjects, one tends to get a little burned out on the whole business. If you're a writer, you know what I mean. You go through a kind of withdrawal syndrome, which can vary from writer to writer, but I was reminiscing a little bit about some writing that I did for a magazine that existed in the early 1990s down in South Beach, Miami, and the name of the magazine was South Beach, all run together with a capital B, South Beach Magazine. Some friends of mine started the magazine, and I sort of got pulled in as their environmental interest editor in a column called Earthwatch, and I pretty much wrote the column myself. What I would do is I would sit down at my computer, and for about an hour, hour and a quarter, I'd have diarrhea of the brain. I'd do a short edit, and I'd turn it in to their editor. And one column in particular that I wrote was called Gaia, G-A-I-A. And it had to do with the Gaia hypothesis, that the Earth is an organism like a cell, and that, in fact, it has all of the properties of a cell, but with an intelligence on a plane entirely apart from that of ordinary biological cells. A theory, I believe his name was James Lovelock, who started the name the Gaia hypothesis, that the Earth is an organism with a consciousness and a life of its own, and that it has the ability, among other things, to defend itself against invading pathogens, just as an ordinary biological cell can do. When you get sick, if you get the flu or a cold or most infectious illnesses, the body will react by having each one of its individual cells protected by a mechanism that involves, all kinds of things that I don't understand, but there is a way that biological cells and biological life forms can defend themselves against invading pathogens. It's called the immune system. When that system fails, bad things happen, like you get sick and die and you have no defense. And when I lived in South Beach, Miami, from 1991 until 1996, for a short period of time I wrote for that magazine a column called Earthwatch and contributed in a column called Gaia, in which I fantasized. Now, there still does exist a South Beach magazine, but it's 2 words, and it's a commercial promotion of this gentrified place. South Beach back then was anything but gentrified. And it's very interesting that they accepted my diarrhea of the brain. These are very good editors and a very eclectic and unusual magazine, much different than the one that exists today. And South Beach back then was quite a bit different than it is today. But in any case, the premise of this article was, what if humanity becomes a pathogen in the mind of Gaia, the goddess of the living earth, whatever governs the functioning of this organism? What if the organism called Earth decides that we humans, Homo sapiens, are something akin to the flu or a bad cold, and decides to defend itself against us? In almost every case, when you get a cold or the flu, you recover, because the offending pathogen is defeated by your immune system. What if Gaia decides, with some reluctance, that this pathogen, with all of its attributes, consisting of you, me, and all the rest of the human race, the human species, what if Gaia decides that we are a pathogen that must be eliminated in order for the organism to survive? What do you think will happen? And that was my speculation at the end of this article. And the editor said, that makes my hair stand on end. And I thought, it only makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, the Earth is it not, a living organism? It makes sense. It doesn't make scientific sense. And I've departed from scientific thinking for a while because I've gotten, to be quite honest with you, a little bit tired of it. I'll come back. I'll be back. I'll be writing these technical geek papers and books soon enough. But not on days like this in June, for crying out loud in the black holes. Days like this are to be treasured and remembered. And in South Beach, Miami, well, days like this were a common occurrence, except hotter. But I wrote this column, and it just brings to mind that may in fact be taking place as I speak and as you watch. Gaia may have, with some reluctance, decided that it's going to have to defend itself against this pathogen in order to survive. The pathogen being you, me, and the rest of Homo sapiens. It's not a very pleasant thought, is it? I don't think it's a very pleasant thought for Gaia either. And so I will provide a link to a song that, to me, for some reason, it's by an Italian progressive rock group. And progressive rock in Europe, believe me, is way different and far more eclectic than anything we Americans over here with our scientific, practical, workaday minds could ever imagine. Makes me want to move there. But I'm too old. But listen to this music and look at the eyes on the screen and look at the trees and the snow and the beautiful environment of this planet Earth. And imagine Gaia reluctantly crying as she, the goddess of the living earth, decides that extreme measures will be necessary to save this organism from the invading pathogen, you, me, and all the rest of Homo sapiens. Just suppose. I'm not telling you I believe this. I'm just hypothesizing, just daydreaming on a day in June. This is the kind of daydream that geeks like me have, okay? I fully expect that a lot of you are not going to like this. I don't particularly like it either. But suppose that it's true. Resistance is futile, isn't it? It's too late. On that happy note, several sunny days are yet to come, and I plan to enjoy every last one of them, even if they're one of the last days that we as a species spend invading and destroying the organism that we so lovingly call planet Earth. South Beach magazine no longer exists. In all of its eclectic glory, it's gone, replaced by a gentrified and very popular magazine, also called South Beach. If you want to go party, you can go do it there. There's no better place. And there's no better place to enjoy Gaia's final action, whatever that may be, as she defends herself against us. Stan Gibilisco signing off. Until next time, stay sane. So long.